The rain had been falling for hours, the kind of cold, merciless rain that made even the warmest hearts hurry past the broken and forgotten. Outside a small bakery, where the scent of sugar and butter danced through the air, a little girl stood shivering. Her dress was torn, her shoes soaked through. She held a paper bag that was empty as the hope in her eyes. Her voice trembled when she whispered to the baker, "Do you have any expired cake, please?" The man behind the counter barely looked up. "We don't give away food," he muttered, turning away. The door shut in her face, and the warm light inside was replaced by the cold shimmer of the streetlights. What she didn't know was that someone was watching her, a man sitting in a black car across the street. His name was Alexander Reed, one of the richest men in the city, but that night, he didn't feel rich at all. He'd been sitting there, trying to remember what happiness once felt like. He had money, power, fame, but his house felt empty since his wife and daughter were gone. He used to buy cakes for them every Friday night, and together they'd laugh, mess up the kitchen, and dance around to old music. Now all that remained was silence. When he saw the girl asking for expired cake, something inside him cracked. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was the memory of his daughter's laughter. Whatever it was, it made him step out of the car and walk toward her. The girl, startled, took a step back. I didn't steal anything," she said quickly, clutching her little bag. "I know," Alexander replied softly. "You asked for expired cake, didn't you?" She nodded, her lips trembling. "It's okay if you don't have any. I just wanted something for my brother. He hasn't eaten since yesterday." He knelt to meet her eyes that had seen far too much pain for someone so young. "What's your name?" "Lila," she whispered. "Lila," he smiled faintly. "How old is your brother?" "6, she said. "He's sick, but I tell him stories when he's hungry so he forgets for a little while." Alexander's heart twisted. He took her by the hand and led her back to the bakery. The same man who had turned her away moments earlier froze when he saw Alexander Reed, a man whose face was often on business magazines. Mr. Reed." "I didn't know." 2 chocolate cakes," Alexander interrupted, "and everything fresh from your counter. And make it fast." The man nodded, his hands trembling. Lila's eyes widened as bags of pastries and cakes were placed in her arms. She looked up at Alexander like he was a miracle. "Why are you helping me?" she asked quietly. He looked away for a moment, his throat tight. "Because someone once helped me when I didn't deserve it. And because you reminded me of someone I loved." That night, Alexander drove her home, if you could call it that. It was a broken shed near the river, covered in cardboard and plastic sheets. Inside was a little boy coughing, pale and weak. When he saw the food, his eyes lit up for the first time in days. "See, I told you," Lila said, her voice trembling with joy. "Good people still exist." Alexander watched them eat, something stirring deep within him. He'd spent years avoiding pain, running from memories. But here, in the cold, he found a warmth that no mansion had ever given him. He couldn't leave them there. Not like that. So he didn't. The next morning, Lila woke up in a soft bed. The smell of bread and milk filled the room. Her brother was sleeping peacefully beside her, clean, wrapped in warm blankets. For a moment, she thought it was a dream, until she saw Alexander standing by the window, a cup of coffee in hand. "Good morning," he said gently, her eyes filled with tears. "Where are we?" "In one of my houses," he said. "You and your brother will stay here until I can find something better for you." "But why?" she asked again, her voice breaking. "Why would a rich man care about us?" He smiled sadly. "Because once, I was broken too. I had everything, and then I lost everything that mattered." "You can't buy peace, Lila. You find it by helping others find theirs." Days turned into weeks. Lila's brother began to recover, laughter returning to his small face. Lila started reading books, painting, and smiling again, things she had forgotten how to do. And Alexander, the man who thought his heart had died long ago, began to heal too. He started visiting orphanages, sponsoring meals, and opening shelters, all under the name Lila's Light Foundation. When asked why he chose that name, he simply replied, "Because a little girl once reminded me what it means to live." Years passed. Lila grew up, finished school, and began working for Alexander's foundation. One day, while giving a speech at an event, she said, "I once begged for expired cake, and I was given a chance instead." Sometimes, what we ask for is small, but what life gives back, if kindness is involved, can be everything. In the audience, Alexander smiled, his eyes glistening. He had given her food, but she had given him something far greater, a reason to believe again, and maybe that's how the world changes, not through power or wealth, but through a single act of kindness that refuses to end. As the camera fades on their smiling faces, the narrator's voice whispers softly, "Never ignore a cry for help, no matter how small. Because sometimes, saving one life can save your own."